Hey everyone, today I'll be talking about Warhammer Rogue Trader. I decided after doing some research and after looking at these reviews down here, I will probably not be playing this game. I decided after doing some research and other stuff, I decided that I'm not going to be playing this. So I'm Magic Man Scott 40K. You can see it right here. I make Warhammer videos. Dawn of War, Chaos Gate. Uh, I make Warhammer videos every now and then. I do the book reviews. One of the book reviews I did was actually a Rogue Trader book, so I know quite a bit about them. Another thing I learned is I didn't know who Owlcat Game was. I never bought one of their games, but I found out recently that Owlcat Game just won Game of the Year award. So very good company. They won Game of the Year. Even with all that said, and the fact that it's kind of cheap, it's cheap. It's cheaper than most games, right? I will not be playing it. So in my last video I did, the Age of Sigmar one, that video I would say got mostly negative feedback. I think only 30% of people who watched it liked it. The rest hated it. So I got a lot of negative feedback. I got a lot of negative feedback for saying I'm not going to be playing Age of Sigmar Realms of Ruin. So I expect lots of negative feedback for saying I don't want to play Rogue Trader. So there's a couple reasons why I'm not going to be playing it. So the first reason is I looked at one review, and so the first reason, and this might be a stupid one, the first reason I'm not playing this is because it's too long. I do not like 50-hour games, especially 50-hour games with this much writing. Everyone says that this game has a lot of words in it. That's basically what every review said. Now, the thing about games with a lot of words in them is usually they expect you to memorize that and make big decisions that will usually impact you later on. I'm not a big fan of memorizing 50 hours of words and then making a decision. Not a huge fan of that. It's pretty difficult for someone like me. Also, this is a turn-based game. I don't know if you guys knew that. You take turns and stuff. And as someone who's played Chaos Gate and XCOM, I'm kind of done with that genre. I know some people really like the turn-based genre. I also played Persona. I played Persona. I played Chaos Gate. I played the XCOM series. To be honest with you, after playing those really long games, I think it took me like 40 hours to beat XCOM. They're really long games. After playing those games for hours and hours and hours, those really, really long turn-based games, I'm just kind of done with the series. Another review I seen was once you get past like the 30-hour mark, the game gets really hard. There's a huge like difficulty spike, and I'm not a huge fan of that. I'm not a huge fan of difficulty spikes. Chaos Gate had a massive difficulty spike once you get to like the 5th battle, and the game just gets harder and harder. Chaos Gate just gets harder and harder the more you play it. And I'm not a huge fan of difficulty spikes because it's basically punishing you for playing the game. You know, if you beat the boss at 30 hours, your reward is you lose a lot. So I'm not a huge fan of that. I'm not a huge fan of difficulty spikes. It doesn't matter what game it is. I just do not care for difficulty spikes. You know, I'm not a fan of being rewarded with losing a lot. Also, this is a game where your decisions matter, and there's difficulty spikes. I think that's just a bad combination. You know, you could say those decisions will make your game easier, or the way you fight makes it easier. I just think that's a bad combination. I think you can have difficulty spikes or the tough decision making. I don't think it's a good idea to have both. That's my 2 cents. I mean, the game already seems hard enough. This looks like a really, really hard game. Now, even though I don't plan on playing this, I don't plan on buying it, I do wish this game to do well. I know there's an audience for this sort of thing. I know Baldur's Gate did really well, and all the other games did really, really well. I hope this game does well. From what I understand, Age of Sigmar, Realms of Ruin kind of flopped. Not a lot of people bought it. Even though there's a lot of Dawn of War fans, and Realms of Ruin is basically Dawn of War. From what I understand, Realms of Ruin kind of flopped. And I was watching Realms of Ruin videos, and there was a lot of mixed reviews. So I'm not sure how I feel about that game. Anyways, so the one reason I'm not going to be playing this is because it's just too long. I don't like long games. I don't care what genre it is. I just don't like long games. I'm not a fan of that. I like games with like daily quests. Those are the kind of games I enjoy. I really like games with like daily quests where they reward you for logging in. I like that a lot. So I'm a big fan of like games you play daily. But I'm not a fan of this. 50-hour story. I mean, I do respect these guys. I respect these guys a lot. They made a really long story, and it's Warhammer. And like I said in my last video, Warhammer is not an easy thing to understand. You have to suspend your belief for a while to make sense of what's going on, especially with the warp. It took me like months to understand what the warp was. So Warhammer is not an easy thing to understand. So I have a huge respect to these guys for trying. I respect these guys a lot, but I am not interested in a game this long. So I'm not playing it because it's long. I'm not playing it because it's a turn-based game. I think I would be interested in the story. I do read the Rogue Trader books, and the Rogue Trader books are actually really good. I'm a big fan of those. Another reason I'm not a big fan of this game, even though I haven't played it, is Day 1 DLC. I am not a fan of Day 1 DLC. Realms of Ruin also had Day 1 DLC. I am just not a huge fan of that. Look at that. It's like... Yeah, I'm not... It's like $50 in DLC. I'm not doing that. I'm just not a fan of DLC in general. I'm 26, and when I played games as a kid, you got the whole package. If you bought a game for, let's say, $20, you get everything. You get the skins, you get the, locked characters, you get the whole game. You get the extra levels, You get all the side missions. You got the entire game. You know, that's what I had growing up. You get the entire game if you bought it. So I'm just not a fan of day one DLCs. And also, I have no idea what these DLC even have. I have no clue. This probably makes the game a lot easier if you bought it. I bet if you bought these, it would make the game easier. And I'm just not a fan of that business practice. You know, spending money to make the game easier. And Chaos Gate did the same thing. Chaos Gate is a game where if you spent money, you unlock new units and make the game easier. And I'm just not a fan of that practice. I'm just not a huge fan of that practice. Now, if Darktide, Warhammer Darktide, I think you can pay for extra weapons. And because it's a multiplayer only game, I'm actually okay with that. You know, if you want to go out there and buy extra weapons to hang out with your friends, I think that's fine. Vermintide 2 had a lot of DLC. You know, Vermintide 2 has like 5 pages of DLC. But because Vermintide 2 was a multiplayer game, co-op multiplayer game, I'm okay with it. I think that game has too much DLC, but at the same time, you know, it's multiplayer, so I think it's fine. Like if Dawn of War came out with brand new DLC that added extra levels or added extra races, I think that'd be okay. I think I would get a little bit mad, but I think it'd be okay. As someone who plays Age of Empires, who, you know, they just released new factions and new units, but they're DLC, you have to buy them. I'm a little mad at that. Like I said, I really wish I wish everything, you know, when you bought a game, I wish you got the whole thing instead of this whole DLC crap. So yeah, I guess I'm just an old guy. I just really hate DLC. Anytime I see it on anything, I'm just not a huge fan of it. Now the one DLC I am okay with is actually the Far Cry games. The Far Cry games are already massive. The Far Cry games, each and every one of them is absolutely massive, and DLC makes the game even bigger. So I think having a choice between making the game bigger or smaller, I think that's fine. So I think the one game that has pretty good DLC is probably the Far Cry series, and probably the Darktide games. You know, I think buying guns in a co-op game, that's fine. You know, I'm not gonna be mad at that. So yeah, that's why I'm not gonna be playing Rogue Trader. I kind of rambled there for a bit. I just woke up. It's like 3 a.m. I'm making this video at 3 a.m. But anyways, that's kind of my thoughts. So yeah, I'm tired of turn-based games. I'm tired of day one DLC. I'm tired of just a lot of things. I bet this game is good. I bet this game is really, really good. These guys here just won Game of the Year. I bet this game is great. But I'm just so tired of these practices. I'm tired of the difficulty spikes. I'm tired of the repetition. I'm just really tired of these practices. And that's why I buy a game. That's why I buy a game like once a month, because it takes me a month to find a game that I like. I usually buy a game once a month. So that's my 2 cents. I know my Age of Sigmar video got a lot of downvotes and a lot of people hated that one. I expect the same thing I expect everyone to hate this video. But yeah, that's my 2 cents. I'm not gonna be playing it. I think I'm just gonna stick to Dawn of War, just casual matches. Last time I checked, the multiplayer was actually doing really well, and there's a lot of people online. So I think I'm just gonna stick to that. I'm just gonna stick to casual Dawn of War, just messing around. Dawn of War is like $10 with if you get all the DLC, it's like, 30 or $40. And I've been playing that game for like 2,000 hours or more. And I definitely got my money's worth. That was all, it's like 2,000 hours of multiplayer, basically. So I definitely got my money's worth out of that. And yeah. Dawn of War has DLC, but that came out like every year or so. It wasn't like day one. They spent like a year making each DLC, and that feels a little bit better. I still wish, and each DLC of Dawn of War had a different campaign, so it feels like a different game. So I think I lean more towards that. I lean more towards that practice of making DLC. I just have a big problem with DLCs. I don't know if, anyways, I went on this huge tangent. A game I bought recently, which I just made like 5 videos about, was Yoxeroth's Yard. I just bought that game. I made like 5 videos about it. And that game there, you get the whole thing. It never asks you for money. You never hit a paywall. It's like a $10 game, and I've been playing that game for like 30 hours. And I just, I never ran into a paywall. Never ran into anything. I never ran into locked content. So it's like a $10 game, and I got the whole game. There's no like separate like characters or anything like that. So yeah, I guess I'm just tired of this practice. I bet this is a good company. I bet this is a really, really good company. And I do hope this game does well. I really hope this game does really well. That's my 2 cents. I'm not going to be playing it. Maybe if I have like 50 hours of free time, I'll play it. But as right now, as it's getting closer and closer to Christmas, as it's getting closer and closer to spring, I just do not have. I know I make videos a lot, but I just do not have 50 hours of free time. That's something I just don't have. So yeah, I don't have 50 hours of free time. So yeah, I'm not gonna be playing this. I bet a lot of people will, not like this video, and that's okay. That's fine. That's fine with me. And that's my 2 cents. I've been rambling for a while, so I guess I'm gonna go ahead and end the video there. Yeah, I bet they did a good job. I bet they did a really good job on everything. But I'm just not gonna be playing it. That's my 2 cents. I'm still not a huge fan. I'm still not a huge fan of this auto-scrolling. This auto-scrolling is such a pain. But anyways, that's my 2 cents. I'm not gonna be playing it. And yeah, those are my thoughts. Bye.